What's up guys, and in today's video we are discussing 2011 or 1911 versus Glock. Probably two of the most famous pistols in the world, or most popular pistols in the world, both in real steel and in airsoft for that matter. In the airsoft world, this is sometimes known as the HiCapa because Tokyo Marui popularized the 2011, branding it the HiCapa because high capacity magazines that it comes with. And yeah, like these are like basically the rivals when it comes to the pistol world, much like how it is in the rifles with M4 versus AK or AR-15 versus AK, depending, airsoft versus real steel. And yeah, like I think, you got American design, coming from the 1911, from like World War I up until now. And then you have the Austrian design, which I believe it was in like 1980s or something. Don't quote me, but somewhere around there. You have the Glock 17, which was the very first Glock. Now in this case, this is an airsoft version, obviously. This is the Glock 18C, or it's based off the real steel Glock 18C. This was by VFC. Yeah, got the full auto switch, right? Yeah, and then you have, from that, Glock came out with different, models after that. They have the 18C here, 19, just to name a few, right? 22. One of my other favorite ones is the 45, the Glock 45, which I actually have here as well. Nice compact version of the 9mm, and it's great. Yeah, and then coming from this, right, with the 2011, in this case, this is a EMG 2011 Combat Master, same one as they used in John Wick 3. Really like this one too. I mean, I'm personally not a 1911 or 2011 person, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely be this one because I love the details and the design of it and just the look of it, right? It looks pretty awesome. Feels great too, so can't go wrong with this. Putting these guns up against each other, what are some big differences? Well, firstly, for one, with 2011 or 1911, it's a lot of metal parts, so definitely there's a lot more weight going behind this gun or going into this gun, as opposed to the Glock, which, as you probably know, is a lot of plastic, right? There are metal components that allow this gun to function and not just break, but it's comparing the two, this one is definitely a lot lighter than this. Even for an airsoft version, even with the extended metal magazine, like this still has more heft to it than this. And this one even has a magazine, full metal magazine in it too. So as far as weight goes, if I found when I used to work at the airsoft range, a lot of, generally speaking, especially women, they liked the Glock because of how much lighter it felt compared to the HiCapas that we had at the range. Now, granted, it was a Tokyo Marui, so it was lighter than this, but still, they liked the fact that it's how light this one, the Glock, was because of a lot of the plastic components. Now, Glock isn't the first pistol to have come out with a plastic pistol, but it definitely made it like a norm, for pistols to be like have a lot of plastic in them. 2011, another thing is they have a manual safety and a grip safety, which is obviously something that Glock has none of those, right? So, because of the single action design with the 2011, you have, let me take the magazine out first. a very short trigger pull, right? And in this case, because this is a race gun, very light pressure needed to break through the wall. So yeah, this very light trigger, probably only about 2 pounds, right? But again, because if you're not trained on this, right, and this is a debate, this is a big debate between Glock fans and 2011 fans or 1911 fans, is that manual safety, if you're in a gunfight, can cost you your life because you forget to flip the safety off before you shoot, right? So that is something that a lot of Glock fanboys will harp on with the 19 or 2011 pistols, but really, like, this just comes down to training. It's the same how you train yourself to flip the safety off when you are shooting an AR-15, for that matter, right? In that same argument, then what's to say you forget to or don't remember to flip the safety off on an AR-15, for that matter, right? It just comes down to training. So I think there's a reason why, though, because with how light that trigger is and how fast this gun can cycle, you know, and it's got great accuracy too, of course. That's why this is the mainstay when it comes to competition shooters. So definitely, you know, for people that like, you know, the classic design of a 1911 or the modern 2011, I think, you know, definitely great for airsoft. You know, if you're especially speed softer, or whether it's in the airsoft or real steel world, great for competition shooting. Well, specifically the 2011, obviously, especially once you start getting all those fancy, you know, sights and everything, just to make this as fast of a race gun as possible, right? Comparing that to the Glock, again, no manual safety on this, right? There's a trigger safety, which, as you know, right, is just right on the front of the trigger there. So if I only pull on the side of the trigger, gun doesn't shoot. But if I once I place my finger on the whole trigger, that takes the safety off. Gun now fires. Now, because it's a trigger safety, the trigger pull is much longer, right? Much longer than it is on a 2011, right? And because of the lack of a manual safety, you can argue that this is not the safest gun for home defense. Specifically, if you know you have kids in your household, you know, and you don't safely or properly lock up your guns, then your kid could just pick this up off the table or something, or get it out of the safe if you didn't properly lock it, and then fire the gun and either kill themselves or somebody else. So, but you have to remember, like, when Gaston Glock invented this, he specifically designed it for military and law enforcement, people who are trained on firearms, right? It wasn't immediately to, you know, attract the just casual, you know, gun enthusiasts or firearm owners, but obviously eventually did carry over into the firearms, or the firearms community, and just casual shooters and so forth, right? Or people who wanted a home defense pistol. So I think, because, you know, what's great is because of the lack of a safety, you don't have to have that extra step of taking the safety off before you have to fire. So getting a shot off with this is pretty much second nature. You don't have to worry about anything. It's like safety on when it's in your holster, which you will make the argument, but it is true, is that, you know, having a holster, which most pistols should have holsters anyways, or you should have a holster for your pistol, is that the holster already acts as your external safety, right? Because when you are in that moment, you're able to just immediately draw, and now this external safety is now off, right? So guns in your holster, safety on, draw the gun, safety off, ready to go, bang, right? So I think as terms of that, just in a self-defense situation, this is like a lot better because one, especially because of how lightweight it is, especially because you can get really compact versions of this, just like the 45 or even the 19. It's way better as far as being able to conceal, right? And easier to carry around. You're not having to worry as much of a hefty weight on your hip here or wherever, right? You're just able to like just draw it out of your holster. Now no external safety to worry about, and then you're on target, ready to deal with the threat. And again, it's just, even for a plastic gun, it's robust. It just seems to work in most conditions, right? Like if you really break it down, this is like the American M16 and such, right? A lot of components internally that make this thing run really well. But let me tell you, man, this one, even the airsoft version, is a pain to disassemble and such. You have to use a couple tools all the time to like take it apart and stuff, right? Really annoying to have to take this apart and clean, or adjust whatever. This only takes a few tabs, right? I can just pull this down, pull the tabs down, pull the slide off, and then I can just get right to cleaning and fixing whatever. So a lot more user friendly, whether it's for the beginner or for people that just want a gun that works. Like this is like super like simple and straightforward, right? You can almost look at this as like the Glock is the gun version of Apple, the iPhone and stuff, right? Super user friendly. Obviously, because of that long trigger pull though, and so forth, it's not going to be an ideal race gun, right? So you're not going to be as fast with this as you would with a 2011 per se, right? It's not to say you can't be fast with a Glock, but it would take more training and I guess just being used to that Glock trigger in order to keep up with the 2011 guys. So that's my basic breakdown of Glock versus 2011. I think both guns are great in their own merit. I guess it just really comes down to what your purpose is, right? Are you a competition shooter, whether it's an airsoft or real steel, or are you a speed softer, right? I think if you're a very fast-paced speed softer, 2011 and HiCapa all the way, because you're gonna be like you're all about speed, right? And there's just so many ways to upgrade into HiCapa just to make this gun lightning fast. Glock, I mean, it's just nice and simple, straightforward. If you need a pistol to have for your loadout and such, you need it for self-defense, home defense, something simple that doesn't take a lot of training to master. That said, obviously, regardless of whichever gun you use, you always want to make sure you're properly storing them and securing them safely, especially if you have kids in the household, right? But yeah, for somebody that just wants something user friendly and light, easy to carry around on your belts or for appendix or whatever like that, Glock is definitely much more ideal for like the self-defense world and such. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and comparison, and see you guys in my future videos. Until next time, peace out guys.